Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. Welcome to the channel where we talk about all things Bitcoin. On today's show, most shops in Cannes, France, to accept crypto by summer this year, baby. Senator Lummis says Trump supports her Bitcoin Act that could erase the U.S. debt. Institutional Bitcoin buying may soon price out retail. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Once the supply's gone, the price is going to have to go up. All this and so much more on today's show. Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. Today is May 5th. No, it's May 2nd, 2025. And Bitty's holding above the 96,000 threshold. It hit 97 briefly early today, but we are still sitting above the 96,700, which we have said in the past. This 96,000, if we hold above this is the point where I believe it's 90 some odd percent of crypto holders, Bitcoin holders are in the green. Generally, when this happens, we get the day trading weak hand holders selling it, making a 3% profit and running home and telling their mom about it. However, us diamond hand and laser eye folk, we know better. So if we keep holding above this, and it's been 2 days now, there is a very good possibility that we're going to continue the upswing. Let's get right into some Bitcoin technical analysis and see where this is going to bring us. Bitcoin down 0.25% right now at 96,740. Ethereum down 0.5%, 1833. Solana down 1.5%, $148. XRP down 0.5%, $2.20. Sui down almost 4%, $3.38. Doge down 0.5%, 18 cents as we speak. Looking at the crypto bubbles, we have Pudgy Penguins up 8.5%. We've got about 50-50 mix for the positive and negative today. Let's check out the hour. We got a little negativity flowing in for the hour. Zooming out to the weekly. Virtual up 62%, Pengu up 30%, XMR 21%, Hype up 13%. And again, it's about a 50-50 mix, I would call it. And zooming out to the monthly, holy moly, we've got 90-something% in the green for the month. We'll call it 95%, I would say. Including Jasmy up 62%, Fartcoin up 173%, Pudgy Penguins up 137%, Virtual up 205%, Brett an impressive 113%. Taking a look at the total hash rate. The hash rate in blue has now turned and has gone positive as predicted in the past couple of days, and the Bitty normally follows the hash rate, so the hash rate is turning positive and higher, and so I seem to think that the Bitcoin price will also continue higher. Looking at the M2 global money supply from 21 central banks, so we've got a very close correlation in the Bitcoin in white, M2 money supply in pink. Let's zoom right in on this mofo here. Let's get as close as we can. And we shall see that the M2 money supply toward the end of January was spiking, and we see a very close correlation with the BIDI approximately 2 months later. Exactly 2 months later, February, March, we'll call it 3 months later. Let's take another look at that. Let's zoom out a little bit and get a bit of a wider perspective. Let's check out about half a year's time here. Actually, this is about 1.5 years' time. But we can see pretty closely that the BIDI and the M2 money supply correlate with each other pretty closely. Here we see a big jump in the money supply, and again, 90 days later, we see the BIDI starting to jump up. Not quite so closely to that, but certainly in this section here, this is identical, right? Take a look at this right here from about end of October until February 2025, just most recently. And then if we look at the vector of the BIDI, we see exactly the same flipping thing. So something to keep our eye on for sure. Let's take a peek at the Bitcoin total market cap at $1.919 trillion, Ethereum 221 billion, XRP 129 billion, Solana 77 billion, Doge 27 billion, Cardano 24.5 billion, Tron 23.5 billion, Sui 11.5 billion, Chainlink 9.5 billion, and Avalanche in the number 13 position, $8.8 billion. Total market cap, look how close we are now to $3 trillion, folks, with Bitcoin holding 64.87% of that. Ethereum has 7.5%, XRP 4.35% of that. Crypto Fear and Greed Index, we're sitting at a 67 in greed. Yesterday was a 53 in neutral. Last week a 60 in neutral. There are 1,076 days left until the next Bitcoin halving 2028, with 155,031 blocks until the halving. Total assets by market cap, we've got gold 21.8 trillion bucks, Microsoft 3.2 trillion, has flipped Apple at 3 trillion, Nvidia 2.7 trillion, Amazon 2 trillion, Google 2 trillion, Bitcoin 1.921 trillion, ahead of silver 1.8 trillion, Saudi Aramco 1.6 trillion, Meta Fuckbook 1.5 trillion. You can currently get 1,036 Satoshis for 1 fiat US dollar, and pretty soon this is going to be under 1,000. Looking at the US national debt, it has flipped now into the 8s, so 36 trillion 800 billion, equaling 107,525 per US citizen, or 323,049 per US taxpayer. Doge savings clock, they have saved 386 billion bucks, equaling to 3,439 per US taxpayer. Yeah, so let's equal that out. Let's spread it out over 12 months. So 3439 times, they've been in about 90 days, we'll call it. So we'll multiply by 3439 multiplied by 4. So per US taxpayer, if this continues, that would be a savings of $13.7 thousand, $13,500 per taxpayer. Household of 2 would have saved $27,000 due to Doge. So careful what you wish for, folks, when you're trying to kick this guy out of Doge and send him back to his car company. You're going to have to start paying more. Brilliant. Thank you, Democrats. Ridiculous. The Dems and the Liberals should get together from the Americans and the Canadians, and they'd have a lovely time with green hair and purple lipstick. Let's now check out what we've got for the day. Some interesting stories. First of all, Arizona, something I missed while my power was out a few days ago. Arizona passed. Not a bill. They have passed. It's gone through the Senate, and it has passed a Bitcoin reserve up to 5% of their current reserve, I suppose. So they can put 5% of their cash of Arizona into the Biddy. Smart. They are first, and I'm sure they're already buying, folks. Now, over across the pond, we see that most shops in Cannes, France, to accept crypto by summer of this year. Cannes, the French city famous for hosting the Cannes Film Festival, is said to be a top tourist destination for festivals and events. Merchants in Cannes, the site of the International Cannes Film Festival, are set to begin accepting crypto payments by summer of this year in an effort to attract clientele with high disposable income by modernizing the city's commercial payments ecosystem, according to Artem Shaginian, founder and head strategy of a Web3 payment company LunuPay. The Cannes municipal government is aiming for a 90% adoption rate among local merchants. The executive also told Cointelegraph, "This is a big signal. When a city like Cannes, known globally for culture and commerce, starts integrating crypto at scale, it shows that Web3 payments aren't just a niche thing anymore. It's about proving that crypto can work in everyday settings, not just online in theory." In February, Cannes Mayor David Lisnard announced a crypto payment integration training session for business owners and professionals to promote the widespread acceptance of crypto payments to the city. Very, very nice. One-way traffic only, I see. This is a rendering, man. No, it's probably legit. It might be AI. You never know nowadays. Ahead of the curve, Cannes' shift toward embracing cryptocurrency reflects the broader trend of crypto adoption by cities, state, and federal governments as these institutions seek to remain competitive on the global stage. In December 2023, the Swiss city of Lugano started accepting Bitcoin and stable coin payments for taxes and municipal payments as part of the city's broader initiative to become a global crypto hub. Governor Jared Polis of the U.S. state of Colorado directed the state's Department of Revenue to begin accepting crypto tax payments in September 22. I didn't know that one. And the Canadian city of Vancouver passed a motion in December 2024 to make the jurisdiction a Bitcoin-friendly city by exploring integrating Bitcoin into the city's financial system and potentially adopting a Bitcoin treasury strategy. You see, what I can say about all these things, they all want your biddies. Everybody. Sure, we'll start accepting biddy. The local merchant will accept biddy. This will accept biddy. They'll accept biddy here. They'll take your taxes in biddy. Vancouver City to accept your biddy. But then I'll tell you that they're going to hold on to your frickin' biddy until the biddy goes to $1 million. And then you've already lost your biddy. Now, it is nice, right? There's a fair chunk of people, mostly young, that have adopted Bitcoin and have purchased Bitcoin and they've made money on Bitcoin. And maybe they're cash poor, which actually probably makes them rich because their money is in Bitcoin. And if they want to go spend some, by all means, now they have a means to do so without the difficulties of, the typical wait times of Bitcoin transactions or the unlawful transaction fees of Ethereum, where, you could try to send $1 and you pay $15 fees in Ethereum. So that's crap. Lightning has been a fantastic option for people with pretty much zero fees and super fast. I've used it a number of times for small transactions. I don't know what the maximum is for a Lightning transaction, but I know it's fast and I know it's reliable and takes a couple seconds. You just set it up on your phone. Oh, $5, send to this address, click, 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 ding, it's there, right? Panama City Mayor Mizrachi suggested the move would modernize the city and bring increased investment as well as global recognition. This was about Panama. More recently, in April 2025, the capital city of Panama announced that the taxes and municipal fees could now be paid in crypto, including Bitcoin, Ether, Circle's US dollar stablecoin, and Tether's USDT. Right, so as time goes, the news just keeps getting better for the biddy. More people accepting crypto. It's becoming pretty common now. I almost predict by next summer you're going to be able to take a European trip and do it all on Bitcoin, which will be pretty damn cool, especially if the Bitcoin spikes in these 4-year cycles, and we see a huge spike coming up soon, October, November, in terms of the cycle peak, if things hold to historical truths. And maybe you pull your cash out, you buy a little bitty when the price is low in a year and a half, and then you take a nice trip to Europe, right? Some other good news out of the States. We see that Lummis says Trump supports her Bitcoin Act that could erase the U.S. debt. Senator Cynthia Lummis declares her bold plan to buy 1 million Bitcoin is the only way to escape America's $36 trillion debt spiral. And she says President Trump agrees. Yeah, you see how they downplay it? No. It's 36.8 trillion. It's closer, but they're not going to say 37 trillion. But, it's gone up $1 trillion in a couple months, everybody. The word is out. It's right here if you want to see for yourself on usdebtclock.org, and the clock keeps on a ticking no matter what we do, morning, day, and night. This thing is freaking going up like you can't even see it. This is like a video game where back in the 90s, I guess, first there was you'd get to 100,000, and they didn't even have numbers past that in these games, right? And then finally they came up to 1 million, and then you saw your points just climbing like shit crazy like this. But this is real dough, and this is real debt owed by real citizens, as we see here, you and me. And let's hope they never come back for this, and say, oh, by the way, we fucked up, and now the citizens are on the hook for this national debt. There's going to be freaking pandemonium in the streets if that ever happens, because quite honestly, I didn't tell you to spend the frickin' money, right? I don't want you to go. Who told you to build more bombs? Who told you to send all this money to overseas for wars? Not me, right? I didn't need my road repaved 14 times, right? I was fine the way it was before. They take money, they spend it on stupid things, and then they end up with this debt. This goes with real life too, everybody. Stay within your means. Don't spend more money than you earn. If you earn $1,000, spend 500, right? If you start earning 2,000 suddenly, spend 500. If you start earning 10,000, spend 500. Right? You don't need to increase and buy more shit and then replace that shit with even shittier garbage 3 years down the road because, oh, my shit is now 3 years old, right? Try repairing things. There was a time when, the shoemaker, there was no such thing as the shoemaker, but it seems now this shoemaker is coming back in style because people are barely, they go to the grocery store, spend all their money, they can't afford new shoes, so they're bringing their shoes to the shoemaker. Well, the point is, a lot of things can be repurposed. You don't, how many times have you gone out and bought something small? You've got it already, but you just can't be bothered to look around. You go out, you buy whatever, a new tape, let's say, and then you come home and 3 days later you find 6 different tapes that you had already at home. You knew you had it, you were just too lazy to look for it. It was just easier to go down the street and buy something else. So this is the kind of wastefulness that we find all around the world, and stop being that guy, right? And long term, you'll benefit quite a bit. So Lummis says that Trump likes her idea. In a powerful address on Capitol Hill today, Senator Cynthia Lummis made her stance clear. The United States is out of time and out of traditional options. The Bitcoin Act is the only solution to our national debt of $36 trillion, she said, while mentioning she has President Trump's support for her initiative. I'm grateful for a forward-thinking president who not only recognizes this, but acts on it. If enacted into law, Bitcoin Act would see the U.S. purchase 200,000 Bitcoin per year for 5 years, creating a $1 million Bitcoin reserve held for at least 2 decades. Now, on that note of big ownership, BlackRock announced a couple days ago they've now surpassed 600,000 Bitcoins under their possession. So, and Saylor's got 500,000. So, sorry, U.S., you need to catch up a little bit. Lummis laid out 3 paths for America: collapse under a default, spiral into hyperinflation, or use Bitcoin and technology to climb out. Her money is on crypto. She believes Bitcoin's fixed supply makes it capable of restoring long-term monetary discipline. The system is built on trust. If we don't pay back what we owe, that trust disappears. She said we'd hit something worse than the Great Depression. Inflation, she warned, will devastate working Americans if money printing continues. We're talking Zimbabwe, Weimar Republic levels. Lummis said, everything becomes unaffordable. That's not a future I want Americans to face. Lummis is offering a deflationary alternative. Technology boosts productivity and cuts costs. It gives us room to grow faster than our debt, she explained, pointing to AI, robots, and crypto as the tools needed to turn the economy around. They're the only real weapon we've got. The Bitcoin Act, first introduced last summer and reintroduced at the 2025 Bitcoin for America Summit, has seen growing bipartisan support for both the House and Senate. Congressman Nick Begich is leading the charge in the House. His version of bills mirrors Lummis. My light show has gone crazy here. I've got to turn this thing off. All right, let me just deal with that quickly because it is important not to go blind while I'm reading the news here, folks. Nick Begich is leading the charge in the House. His version of the bill mirrors Lummis' Senate proposal and signals growing alignment between chambers on Bitcoin policy. Americans deserve a fiscal and monetary foundation built on assets that represent discipline, structure, and confidence, he tweeted today. Bitcoin delivers all 3, and I am proud to lead this effort in the House with a Bitcoin Act. So, yeah, how can we not be happy about that? And let's check out our next story. Institutional Bitcoin buying may soon price out retail. All right, we got the light show back to normal. Bitcoin has emerged as the only true hedge against geopolitical risk. Animoca Brands co-founder said at Cointelegraph's Longitude event in Dubai. Retail investors are running out of time to accumulate Bitcoin as institutional adoption accelerates, according to Sergey Kuntz. I'm sure if you asked someone who's more politically correct, they would say Sergej Kuntz, right? Co-founder of exchange aggregator 1inch. Bitcoin is evolving into an alternative reserve currency, propelling institutional demand and potentially pricing out retail investors. Cunts. I'm going to call them cunts because that's pretty much what it spells. Said during Cointelegraph's Longitude event in Dubai, every retail user should be thinking about getting at least one Bitcoin. Very soon they won't be able to afford it, Kuntz said. If the United States starts buying Bitcoin for a strategic reserve, even smaller countries may soon struggle to acquire the cryptocurrency, he added. I am pretty sure we'll soon see countries battling over who owns more Bitcoin. The U.S. will start. Bitcoin demand has accelerated since U.S. President Donald Trump has announced sweeping tariffs on U.S. imports in April, setting off a global trade war. You know, it's the media who's using this term trade war, right? I would call it trade negotiations. And if they called it trade negotiations, there wouldn't be this frickin' insanity going on with, oh my God, the trade war, the trade war, the trade war. Have we even seen a frickin' tariff yet? Except for China. Like, come on. The only thing that still acts as a true hedge across borders against inflation is Bitcoin. Animoca Brands co-founder Yatsu said during the panel. It's great. We have three complete nerds talking to each other here. Better I didn't see that picture. Global reserve asset during the week of April 21st to 25, Bitcoin exchange traded funds attracted more than 3 billion inflows as institutions sought safety in digital gold amid mounting macroeconomic uncertainty. Analysts say demand from financial institutions could push Bitcoin's price as high as $200,000 per coin this year. By 2029, institutional Bitcoin adoption could propel the cryptocurrency's price past $1 million. Bitwise's head of European research, Andrei Dragoch, said. These fucking names. You know, I just don't trust you based on your name, Dragoch. Asset managers still prefer gold for hedging against macro risk. Source, yeah, they prefer it for now. Interestingly, the US dollar is still second to gold. 30-year treasury, 9%. You know, so if we go through the chart here, 58% prefer gold, 15% US dollar, 30%, 9% 30-year treasury, 7% commodity, 3-month T-bills, 4% Bitcoin, 3% equities, 2%. So we've surpassed equities, the entire stock market, which probably I'm thinking means the entire U.S. stock market, or it could be global stock markets. Bitcoin has surpassed that in terms of where people are putting their money as a hedge against inflation and macroeconomic risks. For Bitcoin, the silver lining is that economic uncertainty has historically accelerated institutional interest in digital assets as a diversification strategy. David Seymour, co-founder of CEO of Wave Digital Assets told Cointelegraph. As of May 1st, yesterday, Bitcoin's ETF and other institutional funds hold upward of 128 billion worth of Bitcoin, according to data from BitcoinTreasury.net. Corporate treasuries hold another roughly 73 billion. Data shows sovereign states, including the U.S., China, and United Kingdom, collectively hold more than 130 billion worth of Bitcoin. However, much of those holdings are from crypto assets seized by law enforcement, not outright Bitcoin buys. Okay, but, holding Bitcoin is holding Bitcoin. 130 billion between those three countries, UK, China, US. So that is a big chunk. I believe that's over 500,000 Bitcoins right there. So institutions are buying this shit up like mad, and pretty soon there ain't going to be any left for you and me, folks. So get in there. I mean, they even say in this article, if you can get in there and get yourself one Bitcoin, you're well ahead of a lot of these institutions, and you have front ran them, which means you got in before them, which means you did get in at a good price, because they're going to be buying it and they're going to be looking for Bitcoin wherever they can get it. And as of now, pretty much every coin that's been mined this year has been bought up by institutions. So, in 4 years, there's going to be half as much mined. And so 100% is going to be taken up by institutions. And I feel like this trend is just going to continue on an upward vector. And again, there's going to be nothing left for the common folk. And this is supposed to be the common man's currency, right? The Bitcoin. This is why it came out. And what we're seeing instead is BlackRock is coming in, US is coming in, Dubai, you name it, every country. Look, China, UK, they're coming in, buying the biddy. How much is going to be left, right? The Sailor Bank is what we're going to end up seeing, where Sailor with 500,000 plus Bitcoin is going to be lending their Bitcoin, and this is going to, I presume, going to be their next business model. BlackRock's basically already doing it. They'll let you buy the ETF, but until now, I know they were trying to change this rule where you can actually buy Bitcoin from them, and not just the ETF, but you actually will own a Bitcoin. Like, when you sell, you actually get the Bitcoin instead of just getting cash. We'll see how that goes. But for now, folks, please know that money's everywhere. There's $900 trillion in assets around the world. It is time that's scarce. So spend your time wisely. As mentioned before, spend less money than you earn. This is basic financial literacy. If you start making more money, start saving more money, and start saving today, ideally when you're young, in your late teens, early 20s, and hopefully then you can retire when you're 40 or 45. If you've got a great idea, start with your idea today. Don't wait. Start today, even if you're not ready, and things will slowly come together for you. Here, folks, at CryptoNews Global, we are on a path to have 500 or more subscribers by this year. Please join me in this journey by subscribing, hitting that subscribe button at the bottom. Also, please share, like, and comment. It helps with the algorithms, and we will see you on the next stream, folks. Thanks so much for joining.